I think this topic is especially important to families because we want to make sure that our kids learn how to end a season well and how to leave a place with a feeling of closure and security at what is coming in the future. So we want them to feel good about this season that is ending and hopeful and safe about what is coming next. Hey there, and welcome to the Digital Nomad Family Podcast. This is the place where families who have or want to have a nomadic lifestyle come together to talk about the highs and lows that this life brings. We celebrate the joys and support each other in the hard. So, if you are a digital nomad family or will be in the future, this is the place for you. We're glad you're here. Hello and welcome to the Digital Nomad Family Podcast. I'm your host, Marissa, and I am the mom and wife from Family of Dashes. And Family of Dashes is the way my nomadic family documents our trips and how we plan trips and how we prepare for things and how we basically just live life as a digital nomad family. So if you haven't found us on Instagram, we would love it if you would jump on over there and give us a follow. We have lots of fun. We do reels, do lots of stories, and we just live life, which is kind of my favorite thing to do with my family. And so I just want to say that this is episode 6. And you might be thinking, Marissa, episode 6 is nothing really to write home about, right? You've done something 6 times. And right now it's the beginning of the podcast, number 6. So we haven't even completed number 6. But I am really excited because 6 in the podcasting world, in the 6-7 range, is a time where a lot of podcasts end. And that's not because a bad host or anything like that. It's that it's a lot of work. And it takes time and it takes planning. And I don't say any of that to toot my own horn. If you knew what kind of planner I was, you would laugh at the fact that I just said the word planning. But I have had a lot of fun with these 6 episodes, and I'm really excited to see where we go next. So something that I would really appreciate it if you guys did is go over to iTunes and leave a review. And I'm not asking, it doesn't have to be a 5-star. I know a lot of people will say, if you leave a 5-star review, we'll read it on the air. And that's great. I'm not busting them for saying that. I understand why they're doing it. But I just want to hear what you have to think about this podcast. If you have got any type of value out of it, I would love to hear that. If you think that there's something I could be doing to make it better, I would love to hear that. If you have any type of advice that you could leave in a review, I would love to hear about it. If there's something that has helped you in your planning or even just given you permission to think about as you are starting your transition maybe to a digital nomad family. I really do want to hear about it. So if you would go over to iTunes and leave a review, once we start getting reviews here, I do plan to read a review at the end of the show, whether it's good or bad. I don't care about the stars. I mean, I can't say I do, but I think that even in a negative review, you can learn something. So just be honest, and I will start reading reviews in upcoming episodes, which I'm really excited about. So before we get into today's topic, which is going to be a good one, like a real good one, I want to say a quick thank you to our sponsor, Divi Agency Coach. If you haven't heard of Divi Agency Coach, that's totally fine. It's a small business run by a very handsome man who I have the pleasure of being married to. And what Divi Agency Coach does is they help small business owners, or medium size, or whatever size you are, it doesn't matter, business owners of digital marketing and web design agencies take their business from where they are to where they want to go. And the thing I love most about Divi Agency Coach is it is first and foremost a coaching business. And I think something that Eric does really well with Divi Agency Coach is understanding, here's what I'm good at, and I'm going to use that to make my business better. Here's the things that I'm not so great at. So how can we find someone to fill those gaps? Here's what I'm passionate about. How can we capitalize on that? And I think he really does a great job of helping you figure out what's next for your business, because businesses are very similar to a family. There's not a right answer or a right way to go necessarily in every single situation. You have to say, here's where we are, here's where we want to go, here's the means we have, what do we do? And I'm really proud of Divvy Agency Coach for how they help people take their business to the next level. So if you own either a digital marketing agency or a web design company, I think Divvy Agency Coach could be very beneficial for you in helping you get to the next level. So thank you for the sponsorship, guys. Really appreciate it. And I would highly recommend checking them out. So today's topic is we're calling it 10 ways to leave well. And I think this topic is especially important to families because we want to make sure that our kids learn how to end a season well and how to leave a place with a feeling of closure and security at what is coming in the future. So we want them to feel good about this season that is ending and hopeful and safe about what is coming next. And I think this is very important when you're stepping into a life as a digital nomad family, because we do move from place to place to place. And so many times our seasons are faster than other people's seasons. And I think trying to help our kids learn the best way to enjoy the season they're in, end it well, then they can move on in a healthy way. And I think it's important because when we start life off as a digital nomad family, and my family is in this right now, I am currently sitting in my room in my house. This is not an Airbnb. This is not an apartment I'm renting. This is my home. And my kids are currently out in their living room and they have their bedrooms, right? This is their home. Once you start this life, kids may not feel like they have a quote unquote place anymore. And that can cause a sense of insecurity or fear. But I think if we help our kids end a season well, then they are able to be more open to what's coming in the next season. And so because of that, we're going to talk about ways to help your kids leave their passport country well, because if you are in a similar situation to us, you have kids already, maybe they're older. My kids are ranging in age from 5 to almost 15. We are about, 6 weeks-ish. Yeah, we're like 6 weeks away from me having a 15-year-old. Ooh, that just got like crazy right now. And so our kids know what it is to have this type of life. They understand, here's my schedule. They understand what their life is like here. They get this. And they're about to lose that. They're about to leave this world. And so I think it is good to figure out a way to help our kids leave this season well, and then keep that in mind as we move on to the next seasons in life as digital nomads, and help them end each season well. Now, before we get into this list, I want to preface it with, kids do not control the budget in my house or the schedule. Now, maybe in your home, the kids can have a little more say over the schedule or the budget, and that's totally fine. I'm not saying that they shouldn't. I'm just saying in my house that they don't. And if your house is a similar way, just know, hey, 2 peas in a pod here. So please don't hear me say anything that I'm not saying as we go through this list. With all these ideas, you have to ask, what can we afford? What do we have time for? And make it applicable for your family. So get ready, because this is really going to be like drinking from a fire hydrant list. So make sure you listen all the way to the end though, because I personally think number 10 is the most important. So maybe grab a coffee, an espresso, and buckle up, because we're just going to kind of hit these real fast and get to number 10, because it's probably my favorite. Okay, number 1, ask them, what have you wanted to do in your hometown, but we just haven't prioritized it yet? Is there a restaurant that sounds good and you've always said, oh, we should go there, and you never do because it's your hometown and you don't do those kind of things? Is there a tourist attraction? We live really close to some historical sites. We've never gone to them, and we're saying, oh, we should go there. Is there a park maybe that your kids have never played at, but you've driven by it several times and they've commented, oh, Mommy, can we play there? Daddy, can we go to that park tomorrow? And you've just put it off because you think, oh, we have all the time in the world, but now you don't. Or is there a local attraction that you've always told them you would do, but you never got to? Maybe there's like a laser tag or putt-putt or something like that, and you drive past it and they're like, oh, can we go there one day? And you're like, yeah, one day we'll go there. And the one days are running out. So what are the things that they would regret not doing if you did not get them done? So that's number 1. Ask them, what have you wanted to do in our hometown, but we just haven't done it yet? Number 2, allow them to speak into what you want to do one more time in your hometown. So this is the stuff that maybe you've done it before, maybe you do it a lot, and it's a part of who you are as a family. Maybe there's a lake that you go to a lot and the kids are like, I really want to get to the lake one more time. Maybe there is a restaurant that you all absolutely love and it's, I want to go there. Make a list and let them speak into this. And again, I'm not saying you do it all. I'm just saying allow them the opportunity to speak about what they would like to do one more time. So that is different than number 1. Number 1 is the haven't done's. Number 2 is one more times. Number 3, who do they want to see before you leave? And this, I'm talking maybe about special, like one-on-one time type best friend situation. Like these are important people in their lives. And sometimes that's just going to be easy to do, but sometimes maybe it is going to take a little longer to figure out schedules of when they're free, when you're free. But really ask them, who would you want to hang out with at least one more time before we leave? And get that from them. Number 4, have a farewell party with their friends. And by party, I don't mean party. I'm not like a party type person. It doesn't have to be anything major. Order some pizza and just invite over the soccer team or the youth group or their scouts club, whatever group of kids is important to them, that if they could just have one more event with them, it would really help them end that season well. And again, it doesn't have to be anything major. Just grab some pizza, I call it pop, even though I live in the South now. I will always be an Ohioan through and through, and we call it pop in Ohio. So by that, I mean soda or soda pop. Grab some pop, some chips, some pizza, and just let them have a fun time hanging out with that group of friends. It could even be a hodgepodge of kids, but just allow them that opportunity so that they can have that chance to say goodbye. Their friends can have a chance to say goodbye. And that can be just a really great opportunity for them to see that you value their opinion and being able to say goodbye to their friends, if that makes sense. And then number 5 is make sure they have a way to stay connected to their friends. And you have to do this in whatever way makes you comfortable as far as communication goes. So in our house, each of our kids has an iPad. So if their friend has an Apple device, they can message that friend as long as they're on Wi-Fi. Another thing that we do is our kids are allowed to play Roblox. It's a app game thing. Don't ask me the questions. I really don't understand it. But you do have to be careful with this because it's very common to talk to other people. And our kids are not allowed to chat with other people, but they are allowed in this game to chat with their friends. And so they exchange their Roblox names. You can exchange phone numbers. If your child has a phone, then they can make sure that they have their friend's number. But make sure that they know that they have a way that they can talk to their friend, because that can really help them feel comfortable when they're saying goodbye, because now it has less of this goodbye feeling and more of a, I can talk to you on my phone, I can text you on my tablet, I can still get a hold of you. It's not a goodbye forever, it's a we'll talk later. And that is going to kind of wrap it up. The first 5 are kind of with relationships and like giving the kids a chance with emotional things for the most part. Number 6 is a really practical type tip, and that's allow them to pick what they keep versus what they sell or give away. So as you make a transition to a digital nomad family, you do have to get rid of a lot of stuff. Unless you're going to get a huge storage unit, which I've never heard of anyone doing that. Unless you're going to get a really big one, you are going to have to downsize. And that means the kids are going to have to downsize. But I do think it's important to let them have say over what they give away, what they sell. Maybe if you're having a yard sale, or if you're throwing stuff on some marketplace websites like OfferUp or something, allow them to say what's going to happen. And I think that this is important because when you think that toy might be silly to keep, you have to ask yourself, what is better? Letting them keep a toy that will give them peace of mind that their toy is still there. They might not have it with them in Argentina or Thailand or India, but it is still their toy. Or giving that toy away, and maybe your kid now feels like even more is out of control because now they don't even have say on what toys they get to keep. And please, no, I don't say this as someone doing this perfectly. We're walking this step right now, and some of the stuff that my kids want to keep, it is hard for me because I just want to say, you're not going to use that when we get back. Like I know you, I know you're going to be out of that. It makes no sense to keep it, but I also know for them it's important. And I think that because of the training we went through when we were adopting, we've had a lot of education with helping kids make major life transitions. And that's where this is coming from. This idea of allowing kids to have a say in the big transition. And I promise there's going to be some stuff that they say, oh, I'm going to keep this. And you want to say, no, we're not going to keep that. But I think that in order to help our kids transition well into a digital nomad kid, allowing them to keep the stuff that is going to make them feel comfortable is an important step. Number 7, talk about what's happening a lot, okay? Ask them if they have any questions about what's coming up. Show them pictures of the house you're going to be living in next. You really can't overtalk about this huge change. Ignoring it and just kind of moving on isn't going to help them. It's actually going to give them more questions. So just letting the conversation be very much a part of your daily life is a very helpful thing. You really cannot overtalk a huge life change. Something you can do is make a special countdown, and you can celebrate as you get closer to when you are leaving. And that kind of ties into number 8, which is have a new country party. And by party, I mean, you can invite some friends if you want, or you could just do this your family. And I think it could be a lot of fun to have your kids help you find recipes or a local restaurant. Let's say you're going to, let me think. Let's just say you're going to go to France. Maybe there's a really fantastic French restaurant in your city. I think it'd be okay to get some takeaway from there. Nothing wrong with that. Or Italy, some good Italian place in your hometown. Nothing wrong with that. But have a new country party and let your kids experience a little bit of the culture they're about to live in. And maybe you can get some books, you can look online, and just really celebrate the fact that we're going to be living in this brand new place, and let them see the potential that is coming. And I think especially for younger kids, that can really help them grab on to this idea of things are going to change. The food is going to be different. If you can find some maybe YouTube videos or something with people speaking in that language that you could have playing in the background so they can hear the language. I think those are all great things to try to get kids used to this idea that things are changing, but it's going to be a lot of fun. There's a lot we can celebrate, and having a party and letting your kids know, like, oh, we're having a party on Friday night or Saturday night or whatever. Well, that's something that they're going to be excited about because they hear the word party. And so that could be a lot of fun and a good way to help them start to get used to the idea of living in a different culture by maybe eating food that they're not used to or hearing music or a language that is brand new to them. Number 9, this one is very much for girls, but I'm not going to say that there aren't boys that wouldn't fall into this. My boys are not into this whatsoever. So if yours are, please do this with them. I wish mine were, but they just aren't. And that's go shopping for new clothes. And we did this when we went on our test trip. And again, my boys hated it. They were like, can you please just buy all of our clothes off of Amazon from now on? We never want to try on another pair of pants ever. But my girls ate it up. This idea of getting a new wardrobe for this trip was a huge thing for them, and they loved it. And it not only gave them something to look forward to, because we kind of kept the clothes safe and special, and then we kind of like packed them up a little bit in me and Eric's room. And not only were they excited about the idea for wearing new clothes, because that's what some kids are really into, but it also allowed them to see things are still going to be normal. Like, I still have control over the clothes I'm wearing. I still get to pick that kind of stuff. And it just all goes back to allowing them to experience and live life and ask questions. And that really leads us in straight to number 10, and that is let them express their emotions in a safe place. Allowing our kids to be scared or upset is a very important part of helping them learn to end a season well. And so many times when our kids bring up the negative emotions that they're feeling, we as parents try to push them away, and we really have great intentions. And I can't tell you how many times I've done this, and we do it with good reasons, but it actually doesn't help our kids in the long run. And so they'll come to us and they'll say something about being scared, and then we come back to them and we say, oh, you don't have to be scared. Just think of how great it'll be to have tacos whenever we want. Or if they're sad about something, we say, oh, don't be sad. We're going to have so much fun on this adventure. And we tell them, you shouldn't feel that way. You don't need to be scared. Don't be sad. Don't be upset. It's going to be great. And we do that because we do love our kids, and we want them to know that in the end, everything is going to be okay. But the best way for us as parents to actually let them know that is to let them express the emotions, and then just us be there for them. And we can ask them if they want to talk about it. We can ask them why they think maybe they're feeling that way, if they are comfortable maybe sharing with us some of their thoughts that led them to that conclusion, and ask if anything that you can do to help, right? Don't try to change the topic, because when we try to do that, it actually makes our kids feel overlooked and unheard. And so while it can be really hard to hear that they do have negative emotions about this transition, the best thing that we can do for our kids is to be there with them as they're processing them, and give them that safe person to share those thoughts with. And so when they come to you and they say, I'm really sad about leaving my friends. I know for me, it can be really easy to say, I know you're sad, but think about all the people you've already met on our trips. So it'll be really easy to make more friends. Or I know you're sad to leave them, but you have their iPhone number, so you can message them anytime you want. And what I'm unintentionally doing in that moment is taking what they're feeling and devaluing it. Whereas that's not actually what I'm trying to do, right? What I'm trying to do is help my 11-year-old see that she's looking a little more in the moment. And as an older person, I am able to look more long-term, and I know that everything is going to be okay, but that's not helping my 11-year-old. That's not helping her end this season well. And so as our kids are processing their emotions, make sure that you're doing whatever you can do to be a person that they can process them with. And I would say if they are experiencing a lot of negative emotions toward you or toward this idea, then maybe you need to get someone else involved in talking about this life change. And I do think, though, if we involve our kids in it, and if we ask them the right questions, and if we help them see that this is going to be a positive experience, then they will get on board with it. But I also know that it can be really hard for kids to leave a life that they have been living, because I am experiencing that right now with my 4 kids. So, wow, that was a lot. Have we breathed? Are we breathing? Okay, take a breath. All right. So now you should probably go back and listen to that again, right? Because that was a lot. And I know that I just rushed through it. But if I don't rush myself, I'll just sit here and talk for easily 5 minutes on each of these points. And you really don't want to listen to an hour-long Marissa talking about things episode. You just don't. I know you don't. So I go through them really fast, and I'll let you process them as you need to. And if you need to go back and listen to it again, that is totally fine. That's the glorious thing about podcasts. You can listen to the same episode like 12 times. I know I've done that in the past. And so I would love to hear what you think about that list. How do you see yourself helping your kids leave your passport country well that very first time? And that's what we're talking about, that first time. Not, oh, we're going to go back to America for Christmas for 2 weeks and then leave again. Not that. That first time of, hey, this is it. Everything's sold. Everything's in the storage unit. We're headed out. What do you think I missed? What is something that we can do to help our kids transition from the life that maybe they're used to and accustomed to this now a life of a digital nomad kid? Because I do think it is a part of our responsibility as their parents to help them transition well. And so I would really love to hear what you think and what you would add, or maybe what you think is not a good idea. Maybe you're like, that's not a good one, Marissa. Take it off. Take it down to 9 or 8. I would love to hear what you have to say. And again, I would love for you to leave a review. And if you do, I may just read it on a future show. And it doesn't have to be a 5-star review. Be honest. That's what I love. I love honesty. I tell my kids we can get through anything as long as we're honest. So, friends, we can get through anything as long as we're honest. So if you could leave a review on iTunes, I would really appreciate it, because it does make the show better and it helps other people find us. So if you just have a few minutes to go and do that, I'd really appreciate it. Also, if you want to connect on Instagram, we would love that. We are at Family of Dashes. We have so much fun. It's a blast. Instagram rocks. All right, that's it for this episode. I really do look forward to hearing what you think, and I hope that you keep traveling joyfully.